Steve, directed by Tim Millance. Well, as my thumbnail would suggest, I love this film and I love the screenplay of this film. And I feel like the screenplay is one of the best I've ever seen. This film just feels so authentic, so raw, so real, so chaotic, and quite hilarious, to be honest. So, what makes this film so interesting is that the film is adapted from a book called Shy. And this film is adapted by the author, Max Porter. And he redid this film from the perspective of the teacher, Steve, which is played by Cillian Murphy. I don't want to go too far in this video. I've recorded this already many times, to be honest, and I just ramble and ramble and ramble because of how much I love this film. I don't want to understate how good I think the screenwriting is. I just want to focus on that kind of. There's a quote by Alan Moore that I brought up before, and I mean, all writers know this, I think, all good writers know this, which is you could stick to genres, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's encouraged to stick to a genre so that you could really hone in your skills. But the best writing out there, genre blends. The best writing out there is a true representation of life, because life has all genres. Life feels differently depending on what you're going through. And I feel like this film is kind of like The Bear in the sense that it balances emotional drama and comedy very well. This film leans more towards emotional drama, but the comedy is there for sure. And the film was very funny, and I just think this film feels so real. That's like the best, simplest way I could explain it. This film feels like you're a fly on the wall and you're just watching these characters go through the next 24 hours and all the chaos, all the emotion, and all the struggles that go into this line of work and this experience as a young person. And yeah, this film is unrelenting. From the very beginning, it just goes, dude, with deep emotion, comedy, chaos, everything. It's just going the whole time. I don't feel like this movie's boring. I've seen a few reviews or a few like user reviews that say the movie's kind of boring, and I don't understand that. I guess the wrong audience. They expected a straight up comedy or something. I don't know what they expected. I didn't see the trailers for this, so I just went into it blind, and I love my experience of this film, to be honest. I really do think it's a perfect film to me, because I often leave a film, no matter how much I like it, I often will feel like there's a better version that exists of this movie. Like, great ideas, great writing, great everything, but it didn't realize it. It didn't go for it. I often feel that the movie just didn't go for it. And I feel like this movie, it went there. And I feel like this is the best version of this movie. And I know that's extremely high praise. And I mean, maybe it's just fresh in my mind because I saw it last night, but I really do think it's that good. The movie brought me to tears. I was very entertained, and I wasn't just entertained, I was also moved. But I don't mean just I was moved to tears, but I feel like the film had something to say, and I feel like when you tackle these hard subjects of depression, mental illness, hopelessness, and you name it, all these dark, real things that many people deal with, especially people like this that like are struggling with addiction, or they're locked up, or they're in a reform school, whatever it is. When you tackle these big ideas, it's very easy, or it's very common to fall short with your ideas and to just feel like, oh, like, just be happy. Or like, I feel like they give you advice, or the movie says something that just feels like, sure, Hollywood, like, yeah, life is that easy. And it just doesn't feel like it helps. It feels just like disrespectful almost. And I feel like this movie gives the only answer you can give, honestly, because most people don't have the answers. And when you're messed up in the brain, it's just kind of like there isn't really a solution. It's just about changing maybe your headspace, changing your perspective, but that's it. But your problems will never go away, and that kind of is addressed in the film, and I love that, and I love the way they address that. And I feel like even though this movie is so dark, there's a lot of comedy, and even though we're dealing with that kind of depressing reality of sometimes your mental issues just will never cease, I feel like the film still ends on a hopeful note, and I just feel like that's really hard to do. And yeah, I just cannot express enough how great I feel the writing is of this film. The direction is great as well, really good cinematography, a lot of crazy close-ups. The filmmaking almost reminded me of the Safdie brothers, very guerrilla indie style, but also some very cool controlled camera movements that are very flashy to really put you in the headspace, like camera kind of shifting around and really making you feel disoriented. So really good camera work, really good everything, to be honest. The performances amazing by everyone, not just Cillian. all these kids, man, all these kids really sold the performance. All these kids feel so real. They really sold the comedy, they sold the chaos, they sold the anger. I really did feel like, man, I'm watching a documentary. Like, this is real life right here. And then Killian. Actually, before I go on to Killian, I want to talk about the main kid, Shy. He's the kid from the Batman. At the very beginning, the one that's wearing the makeup and he's like part of that gang. Yeah, I totally recognize him because I see the Batman often. But he was great, dude. I really hope this performance elevates his career because he's a star. He really was amazing, and I really, really enjoyed his performance. And Killian, obviously, Killian's amazing, you know? But it's so easy to overlook these giants like Daniel Day-Lewis, Leonardo DiCaprio, Joaquin Phoenix, all these guys that we just all know they're amazing. We take it for granted. And I just feel like Killian's amazing and he should get nominated for an Oscar. And he really sold me on this teacher that has deep issues, deep demons in his closet, you know? And he also was pretty funny. He sold me on not just being a science teacher, not just being a really empathetic, wise man, but also like you believe that this guy understands these kids. You believe that he knows how to get through to these kids that are struggling and are crazy troublemakers and have mental issues and are just vulgar boys, you know? And Killian just, I don't know, he really, it's obviously due to the writing, but Killian sells the performance. He sells this character, you know? Like, he could get through these boys. He could talk them down and the boys respect him. Of course, initially they're kind of like, nah, F you, and shut up, and you're just a teacher, and whatever, you Irish cunt, or whatever they say, you know? But at the end of the day, he calms them down, and I feel like, yeah, I'm rambling again. Yeah, so I just highly recommend this film to you, and I feel like this is one of the best films that exists in this subgenre of teacher and student. So let me know your favorite film from this subgenre, and of course, let me know your thoughts on Steve, and thanks for watching.